Hello everyone, long time no see. Welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. Last week, I had been very busy translating the explosive audio file of the top secret war mobilization meeting of the PLA's Southern War Room at Guangdong Province. The full video has been translated with English titles, and the Chinese and English version of the transcript have already been published and have drawn a lot of attention worldwide. Today, I'd like to talk about what's in the audio file and what kind of hidden messages there are, the background of this meeting, how this audio was recorded and got out of China, and what kind of price has been paid to get this out, why I decided to translate and share it. Also, many people don't believe that the CCP will attack Taiwan, as that will mean the end of the CCP. I will explain why this kind of mentality can be very wrong. This is the most important point I will make. So please make sure you stick around till the end. First, like usual, a Shen Yun video.
漫漫等待终于结束了，神韵即将重返舞台，美妙、辉煌，充满希望。看神韵，体验失落的神传文明，一个更美好的世界等待着您。每年一套全新节目。
Right now, Shen Yun's 7 equally large companies are touring multiple cities in America, Europe, and Australia, and will be in Taiwan in June and July. Check the show schedule near you and buy tickets from shenyun.shoot/Jennifer-Zheng to get a discount. Now, let's move to our topics today. The war mobilization meeting was held in Guangdong on May the 14th. And this is a photo secretly taken at that meeting. The red Chinese characters on the top say Military Civilian Joint Command in Guangdong Province. The white-color Chinese characters on the left of the screen say expanded meeting of the Standing Committee of the Provincial Party Committee. There are some more words after those ones, but I can't recognize them as they're not clear enough. So basically, this is a war mobilization meeting to discuss all the relevant issues related to war mobilization and how to transition from normal status to war status. The most frequently used term in this meeting is 平战转换, which means normal to war status transition. And the main points are: first, three tasks and suggestions for normal to war transition. And the three tasks are constructing a national defense mobilization command system, setting up a wartime work mechanism, and a wartime control preparation. To complete the three tasks, they will quickly build a joint command system between the military and the civil government, coordinate the mobilization for strategic victory, and highlight the resource potential of new domains and new systems to make up for the shortcomings of the troops, etc. They use many terms that are especially crafted by the military. When they say new domains and new systems, I understand they mean new technologies or high-tech means to make up for the shortcomings of troops. And they especially mentioned that they need to focus on the overall coordination in both the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea directions or regions. This means that they are thinking bigger than just attacking Taiwan. And the two main points is proposal to accomplish the mission of securing resources and ensuring strategic victory. Two suggestions were made in this part, including quickly setting up a party committee at the Joint Military Surveillance Command. You know, in CCP's China, they talk about how the party must have the leadership role in everything. So for any important entities, a party committee must be there to take control. The party secretary is the real one in control. The second suggestion was to pay attention to their own defense. So there are altogether 20 other main points in the 57-minute video, which I summarized, but I won't go through this one by one here. If you are interested, please go watch the entire video later if you haven't. All the main points and their time codes are in the description box under the video. I have put a link to this video in the description box of this video. So to make a quick summary, they talked about the detailed tasks that were assigned to Guangdong province, how much they have accomplished and how much still needs to be done. They talk about how to recruit soldiers and militias, how to expropriate and retrofit civilian boats and aircraft, equip them with high-tech equipment such as drones, and have enough technical support people for each boat, how to do cyber attack and network defense, how to offer space support, how to coordinate national strategic resources, how to protect the nuclear power plants and other high-risk tasks, how to mobilize overseas Chinese, how to suppress possible social unrest, how to do public opinion and psychological warfare, etc. Let me read off part of the tasks. Quote, the mobilization tasks issued to our province by the Eastern and Southern War Zones, totaling 20 categories and 239 items, many 1,358 detachments of various types with a total of 140,000 personnel, 953 ships of various types, and 1,653 units or sets of various unmanned equipment. Other resources include 20 airports and docks, 6 repair and shipbuilding yards, 14 emergency transfer centers, and resources such as grain depots, hospitals, blood stations, oil depots, gas stations, etc. The National Defense Mobilization Recruitment Office will recruit new military service personnel, retired military personnel, and special tenants, totaling 15,500 people from our province. The National Defense Commission clearly stated that our province shall coordinate the implementation of the 7 types of national level warfare resources, including many 64 10,000-ton roll-on and roll-out ships, 38 aircraft, 588 train cars, and 19 civil facilities, including airports and docks. Unquote. 2 other most used terms are the People's War and a strategic decisive victory. So what is the People's War? As far as I can see, this is the evilest term that you can imagine. The People's War is much worse than terrorism. Why? We all know that the CCP likes to use the people a lot, such as the People's Republic of China, People's Banks, People's Hospitals, etc., as if these entities all serve the people while they do not. However, when the CCP talks about the People's War, it means it will involve and take hostage all the people in China to achieve its purpose. For example, they turn all civilian facilities into military ones. How about 1,000 civilian fishing boats suddenly approach Taiwan without a declaration of war? How will Taiwan's warships respond? And how do you know what is loaded inside those fishing boats? Does anybody still remember the crash of a China Eastern Airlines flight in March? It made a vertical dive from the sky and killed all the 132 passengers. And according to Wall Street Journal, the vertical dive happened because someone in the cockpit pushed it to this position. This was suggested by black box data. The report also says, quote, Chinese authorities who are leading the investigation so far haven't flagged any mechanical or flight control problems with the plane involved in the March 21st crash in southern China, unquote. After the Wall Street Journal report was published, many Chinese people said that the crash is the result of a suicide action by a pilot. Well, according to Lu De, who is the person who released the original audio file of the war mobilization meeting, the vertical dive was not pushed by the pilot, but was a test run by the CCP to test how to utilize a fully loaded commercial flight to attack a US target, such as an aircraft carrier at sea. Nobody will pay attention to or mention or monitor a fully loaded commercial flight. He especially reminded me that it was mentioned in the meeting that 38 aircraft are to be mobilized in Guangdong province. He said that was the most terrifying part of the mobilization plan. Well, I know this sounds too far-fetched, and he didn't offer me any more details or evidence. However, given that the CCP has always been talking about unrestricted warfare, I won't be surprised if this is the CCP's plan. So that's why I'm talking about this here. If war really breaks out, maybe commercial flights from China should also be monitored. Another term they used a lot in this meeting is a strategic decisive victory. So it feels like that for the CCP, this is an all-out gamble. They will put all the resources into winning this gamble. This is a life and death matter for them. So this is not just a plan to invade Taiwan. The US is also in the picture. The meeting talked about offering support for the distant troops and warships. Quote, we will basically organize new-style ocean-going forces to conduct reconnaissance, submarine search and rescue outside the first island chain to protect the forward deployment of rocket forces, support troops to rescue the wounded, and repair ships and aircraft, unquote. Please note that they mentioned operations outside the first island chain and the forward deployment of rocket forces. If they deploy rocket forces outside the first island chain, who will be their targets? They also mentioned how to connect everything in the South China Sea. They talked about, quote, the mobilization of professional repair forces and air and sea transport forces to assist the troops to repair and set towers and markers, and the organization of militia fishing boats to respond to the infringement of the Vietnam, Philippines, and Malaysia and other countries to fight well the people's war at sea, unquote. So, as I said, this is an all-out game for the CCP. We'd better be prepared. According to Lu De, who obtained the top secret audio, the entire war mobilization plan for the entirety of China was made and communicated to all 5 war zones in March. And this is a map of China's 5 war zones. They are the northern, central, eastern, western, and southern war zones. Guangdong province is in the southern war zone. These 5 war zones were reorganized by Xi Jinping back in 2016. Before that, China had 7 military regions. One was Guangzhou military region. Since Xi Jinping took power, he has been purging a lot of heavyweight military figures and appointing his own people. So the rezoning of war zones or military regions was part of the process of Xi Jinping trying to reshape and take full control of the army. Anyway, after the 5 war zones got their assignment in March, they divided the tasks and gave them to the military regions and provinces that are under them in April. So after receiving the tasks in April, Guangdong province spent about 1 month studying the tasks and working out plans to accomplish the goals. Therefore, the meeting on May 14th was held to report to the CCP Central Military Commission about what they had done since they received their tasks and what was still lacking. Somebody asked me if this is a plan to invade Taiwan, why didn't they have the meeting in Fujian province, which is closer to Taiwan? Well, my reply is, how do you know there wasn't a similar meeting in Fujian? The only problem is you don't have the chance to get a recording of every meeting of such a high level. The next question is, why are there so many conflicting voices in the recording? I think many people may have this question in their minds. Well, the secret is the recording was not done at the meeting, but rather remotely from another location. According to Lu De, apart from the actual physical meeting, there are several other locations that were also watching the meeting in real time. These locations include the Southern War Zone, Guangdong Military Region, the CCP Central Military Commission, and the Satellite Signal Transfer Center. In other words, the meeting was being broadcast via both the internal military fiber network and a satellite to several other locations where people were also watching. So the story is the recording was secretly done at one of the remote places, and the conflicting voices were from the remote location. Lu De especially wants me to emphasize this point to the Western audience. This audio was not passively leaked by somebody, but was proactively recorded and then sent to him. He called it the biggest rebellion in the CCP's history. It was done by people who wanted to risk their lives to warn the world about the CCP's crazy plan. Lu De said there is an operation inside China called Lei, which means thunder. So there are a lot of members in the Lei or thunder operation, and their aim is to end the CCP. Lu De also said after the audio file was exposed, at least 10 people, including one lieutenant general and 3 major generals, were executed by the CCP, and many more have been arrested. So this is the confidentiality agreement that every participant had to sign before they attended the meeting. And this is an English translation of that agreement. So I think it is not hard to imagine how mad the CCP was after their top secret plan was exposed. After the audio was released, a lot of people believed it is true and a lot of people think it is fake. After listening to it many times, I tend to believe that it is true. That's why I spent so much time translating the whole thing. It was torture. I assure you, as I had problems understanding their way of speaking, they used so much jargon and special ways of expression that don't have an equivalent word in English. Anyway, the reason why I tend to believe it is true are the audio file, the way they talked, the terms they used, and the comprehensiveness of the plan all made me feel that it is true. I can hardly imagine anyone who doesn't have a lot of inside knowledge can fix such a plan. And many different voices are in the audio, which means there are many different people talking. I've checked all the names, including the names of the officials, factories, and lamps mentioned in the audio. They all do exist and match the public records. I knew none of these names before I translated this file. All the moves, and the number 2 reason is all the moves the CCP has made in recent years indicate that the CCP is decoupling itself from the world on its own. And take a look at this report of Wall Street Journal. The CCP bars senior officials from owning property aboard or stakes in overseas entities, whether directly or through spouses and children. The CCP prohibits spouses and children of ministerial level officials from holding directly or indirectly any real estate aboard or shares in entities registered overseas, and family members of some senior officials have sold shares in overseas companies in order to apply. Please note that this order was issued in March, and March was also the time when Xi finalized his master war mobilization plan. There are many other indications, such as the insane zero COVID policy, tightened border control, cancellation of several major international sports events, internal circulation economic policy, and the establishment of a united national purchase and sales market, etc. All this made me believe that this file should be exposed and shared with the world. The number 3 reason is I can't think of any one reason why the CCP would spend so much effort to fix such a file. So many people were involved. It was a big project. What's the point of faking it? I really cannot work out any. And the number 3 reason was, number 4 reason was, after I released the audio, I suddenly got a strike from YouTube for a 3-year-old video. As a result, I cannot use my main channel again for 2 weeks. And the video YouTube removed and said to have violated its policy on harassment and bullying was only a 23-second one, showing only an ID card of a torture victim and a handwritten letter in Chinese without any sound. This is a backup copy in my Odyssey channel. How could such a video harass or bully anybody? Also, YouTube is manipulating the views of the audio file of the meeting, say the top feedback from an audience member. I also noticed a drop in views, and this audience member said she found a drop of 15,000 views. So these things only make me believe that the CCP is very frightened by this audio leak, so it must be true. Many people say that the CCP won't be able to win the war over Taiwan whatsoever, so the CCP will never really invade Taiwan. Well, before Russia invaded Ukraine, a popular Chinese language YouTuber, Professor Zhang Tianliang, said that Russia would never invade Ukraine as Putin had everything to lose and nothing to win if he did. Well, it turned out that Russia really did invade Ukraine later. So Zhang Tianliang apologized to his audience that he was using his rational mind to guess what a dictator was thinking, so he made a mistake. Well, after the audio of the CCP's war mobilization meeting was released and someone asked him to comment, he again said that the possibility of the CCP invading Taiwan was 0. When I heard him say that, I smiled and asked him in my mind, have you forgotten your prediction about the Russia-Ukraine war? By the way, this is no respect to Professor Zhang Tianliang. I watched his shows a lot and respect him very much. He's also a personal friend. My point here is you can never use a normal human being's thinking to guess what the CCP will or will not do. Every entity has a mission or a function when it was created. For example, a cup is made so that we can use it to drink water. The function of a normal government is to govern the country and to make the country better. So what is the mission of the CCP? If the CCP was created to destroy mankind, it won't consider what it can gain in this war. It can't help itself. Its mission is to destroy, not to building anything, or not to build anything or win anything for China or the Chinese people. So that's why we should take this audio file very seriously and take every precaution to prevent the CCP from destroying the world. Well, that's all for today. If it's your first time here, please subscribe to my channel. If you like my content, please help me spread my videos or to go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com. Sign up for a membership or make a donation. Thank you so much. See you next time.